All right, and we are here with a new episode. Happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there. What are we, November 11th? Todd's here. I'm here. It's a little bit nice out. We've been getting spring weather right now the past couple days.
I'm scared. Because when the spring hits in the winter, that means our winter's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I anticipate a lot of snow. So brace yourselves, people, and where I'm going tomorrow, it's like 1 degree, so yeah.
Where you going?
Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at the weather. It's 1 degree right now.
How did they even survive out there? I know they got warm blood and all, but
beats the heck out of me. But you know who survived on Monday? The Pats. They were in desperate need of a win, and they were able to squeak one out against the Jets, aided by the dumb plays of Joe Flacco, who played, looked like an MVP for the first 3 quarters of the game, and then he reverted back to Joe Flacco and gave the Patriots pretty much gifted them an interception. And
well, we all know that's always been Flacco's downfall. How many times we turn the ball over? And honestly, I'm just glad the Pats got over this little hump, because if you lose to the Jets,
yeah,
and like you might as well wrap your whole season up, to be honest with you. I'm glad they figured it out. I'm glad Myers actually figured out his role in the team. He's not a deep threat. He's a 10 to 15 yard threat, which is great because Cam's looking more efficient in the offense.
Yeah.
And it's just they just played a little. They battled back for one. They showed they can come back from deficits, and they just competed, man.
Yeah, the thing about this game was Cam. What the offense was Cam. They weren't having Cam try to launch the ball down the field because they realized they don't got nobody to launch the ball down the field, and I don't think he's that confident in launching the ball down the field because throughout the season, whenever it was time for him to launch it, he'd be under duress and he'd just chuck it up. With this one, I think he started off something like 17 to 17 or something like that. He was playing well, finding the open guys, and we've been saying it, just keep running the football. There's no reason why you shouldn't stop running them, especially when they couldn't stop the run. The Jets couldn't stop the run, but this team needed this because this would have been, if they lost this game, this would have been the third or fourth game that they had the ball to take the lead late in the game, and if they didn't execute, it'd be like, dude, you guys are like this cozy.
And that just shows the progression of the team. It's like they missed it by this much, a couple games, and now they finally got over that small hump. So hopefully they make better steps forward. I remember I texted you during the game, Burkhead was out there moving.
Yeah.
He was out there great. He was doing a little extra, but it was just good to see somebody moving the ball on the ground.
Yeah, definitely. And Harris, too, before he got injured. Sony Michelle, you better watch out because Harris, every time he touches the ball, he just gets positive yards. The defense, geez Louise, they had Flacco receivers were running loose in that secondary. They weren't really getting to Flacco. He had all the time in the world, and then they finally realized, maybe we should put some pressure on him. And when they did, good things happened. Yeah,
maybe they thought that Flacco was going to beat himself because he's been known to do that. But so they figured out maybe a little extra pressure and he will beat himself.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, definitely. And, kudos to the Pats. No turnovers. That's the big thing. They didn't turn the ball over. They were taking what the defense gave them. So, I said this on Facebook. So, the Pats could easily be 6-2 instead of 3-5. But, in sports, the margin of error is so small, and when you have opportunities to execute, you got to execute. And in 3 games that they lost, they didn't execute when they had the chance to score or kick a field goal to tie the game. And this one, they executed well. And also, the Jets' play calling, it's 27-27, and they go 3 and out.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Because I'll be honest. Once we scored, I blinked and game was over. And I go, hold up, we get the field goal? Like it was over like that. It felt like.
Yeah, I thought they were. I don't know what the Jets were doing. I just don't know. I thought this game was going to overtime. I was praying for no overtime because God help us as viewers. We didn't need overtime for that game.
Not for that game.
But the Jets, there was just I didn't get their play calling at that end of the game because they they went away from what they were doing well, and it was just like, and this is why y'all are the Jets.
I was gonna say it's what makes that's what makes the Jets the Jets. Play calling, and it all starts up top. So
Yeah.
I feel like they did dismantle that whole organization.
Yeah, and for the Pats, as I was saying, that they definitely needed this win because their next 5 games is not easy. They got Baltimore coming in, then they're going to Houston, then I believe they got the Chargers and the Rams, and somewhere in there they've got the Cardinals as well coming here. They don't have an easy. The closing of their season is not easy at all. Plus, they got to match up with the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets. Bills and Dolphins are playing well.
Yeah, they are.
Granted, the only positive is they got the Bills at home, so they've proven they can play with the Bills. The Bills are not that much better than them. It's just like this. And the Dolphins, they've been playing a whole lot better. But if the Patriots could win those their remaining 3 division games, it could give them a chance of getting a wild card spot. It's bleak right now. The way they're playing, their margin of error is little. But if this team goes 8-8 or 9-7, that would be one of the biggest coaching accomplishments in Belichick's.
Yeah, because for one, new quarterback, not many pieces to be effective with, and if you to have a winning record with that, sure you still got some skill. Because a lot of people have been putting him under the microscope this year just because there's no Brady, so they want to see what he could do. But people got to realize quarterbacks just don't click right away with the coaches in the system. It takes maybe a year or two. But people just need something to talk about in regards to the Pats and Belichick.
That's just a lazy take. If people are trying to say Belichick's an overrated coach, or it's a lazy take to say that right now, because it's easy to say that now, but when you don't look at the full picture of everything that's happened this season, I guess it's a miracle they've got 3 wins actually, the way they've been, but. We'll take it, Hopefully they could, if they get one against the Ravens, that'll be a big confidence booster for them. So we'll see. Speaking of Brady, Lord have mercy. Honestly, they look like a team that this is the first time they played together. That's what they look like.
I feel like that organization is still in awe that they have Brady. That's how they're playing. There's no reason why you should average 1.6 yards per rush, and you only rush the ball 8 times.
It was terrible. And you notice Brady's been doing a lot of overthrows this year that's led to interceptions.
He's old.
Usually old people don't overthrow like that a lot. They underthrow, but his overthrows, it's just.
But most old quarterbacks, they don't put so much pressure on that shoulder.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be throwing the ball that much.
Yeah.
But
this whole game from this was just an all-out beatdown by the Saints from offensively, defensively. I think the Saints scored on 4 of their first 5 possessions. They scored a touchdown, and Tampa Bay, I don't think they got a first down. They kept going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Then they got a turnover, 3 and out, and it was. It was just ugly.
They third down. I think they went 1 for 8.
Yeah, they were just terrible the entire game. Stats. Yeah, they were. You are on third down. I got it right here.
1 for 9.
Let me see.
It's up.
1 for 9.
Yeah.
They were 1 for 9, and these guys were 9 for 14. It was. At 420 to $194. It was just look at the time of possession. 40 minutes to 19. This was just a straight dominant performance by the Saints, and the Bucks right now, they need to look at themselves in the mirror and figure out how they're going to close this season out, because that performance is just
And that was my biggest thing with the Bucks. It's everybody's so excited about the piecing that they have, but you still have to gel and figure it out. And this is Brady's first year playing against this competition, consistently. You might run into him in the playoffs and stuff, but no, now it's time. It's like when LeBron went to the West Coast for his first year. He was whoa. It was a little different than running the East.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's now you went to the bottom of the map, Brady. It's time to work.
The thing with this is, I just didn't understand their game plan. I did not understand their game plan. I mean, and what's even worse is they were playing really well the past 4 or 5 games, offensively and defensively, and then for them to just lay an egg like that, this is one of those you gotta look at yourself in the mirror type of game. But I will say this about the Saints. I know everybody's on the Saints bandwagon. They look like a Super Bowl contender. The Saints fool everybody every single year with these. They have these type of games every year. They blow out a team that's supposed to be a playoff contender. They blow them out. They get on this high horse. Then it comes to the playoffs. They have a home game, and they choke and lose, and then we're going to hear them complain for the rest of the offseason, which is pretty much what's going to happen again. The Saints are going to probably have a home game, lose, and we'll hear them complain again about why they lost, because this is just what the Saints do. I'm not really a buyer on the Saints as being Super Bowl contenders, but in the NFC, there's no one team that you look at it like, okay, that team's definitely a Super Bowl, gonna represent the Super Bowl. It's wide open right now.
I'm happy for Jameis eating them W's.
Yeah. Even though he should be starting somewhere.
But that is good revenge. That is a great revenge because Brady comes in thinking he's gonna kill New Orleans, and he gets a slack and your backup was just started last year.
Yeah.
So it's like he's like looking at y'all like, was I really that big of an issue? I was an issue, but shoot, this guy can't even score. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one for the Saints. They got the Panthers coming up, then they got the Rams after that. So they gotta. I said the Saints, the Bucks. They gotta get their act together. But yeah, the Saints.
Yeah, we know.
The Saints fan, just prepare yourselves for that early postseason exit, because it's bound to happen. All right, the Steelers stay undefeated in a little bit of controversial game. Well, a controversial roughing the passer call late in the game with Dallas leading. Pittsburgh was driving and they got bailed out with a roughing the passer call, and then Pittsburgh scored and all is history. Dallas did have 13-0 at one point in this game.
I don't think anybody believed in that 13-0 at all. Let's be real. I don't even remember the guy's name. Was it Gilbert? Is it quarterback now?
I don't know. Yeah, Gilbert was something like that.
They just, honestly, they look like the replacements out there. And I just watched with Hood. I watched Necessary Roughness last night. The Albadillos. I bet the Cowboys ain't looking that much different than the movie team, bro.
Well, they looked a lot better than they did the past couple of weeks on offense, but they still, they just don't have the talent. Right? Well, they have the talent. They just.
A lot of people have been talking to them and asked me about Zeke, and it look like he's been declining. I feel like they should just save him because, what you gonna do?
Yeah, he's definitely been in decline. It's just his productivity's been he don't look like the same guy. He looks slow. He doesn't have the same explosion that he did once, and it's just I don't know if this is it's a confidence thing, but it looks like he used to run with a purpose, and you can see the confidence when he runs. Now it's just he's.
As a running back, you would one of the star players. You'd want the ball in your hands most of the time, regardless if you're gonna win or not.
Yeah.
Just because you feel like you're that confident of an athlete to help your team get over the hump. Yeah. But I think with no Dak, he don't know what to do really because they helped each other relieve the pressure off one another. And if your quarterback's trash, and you're gonna get beat up all game. You're like, you know what, man? I don't know. I already got my money. So,
yeah.
So you never know,
Also, with this game, I'm surprised at the amount of fans that were at that game. Why are there people in that stadium? Why are there fans there?
It was at Dallas?
Yeah. Bro. Why is there any fans? At least over here, they've said no fans at all. The Pats said no fans at all. Some of these other teams and stadiums, they just...
Well, for one, you said Texas. They kind of govern themselves, bro. That's its own country.
Yeah, but for the Steelers right now, they're 8-0 right now, and Ben Roethlisberger is putting together a really, really good season, and not a lot of people thought he would actually have this type of season, especially coming off the injury that he came off of, and I don't know. They offensively and defensively, they got everything. They got a running back. They got receivers. The defense, they could stop the run. They could get to the quarterback. So the Steelers are one of those teams that's when they kind of get rolling. If they have home field playing in the cold, they're gonna be tough to beat at home in the postseason.
Yeah, I never really count out the Steelers unless you just have a bad season. But overall, you know me, I used to be a big fan of Ben until he started acting ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So his talent didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's all about a lot of people not liking Ben, you know what I mean, based on his personal decisions, but his talent never went anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. And then Mike Tomlin is also with this win. This is I think it's 14 or 13 straight years of having a winning record. He's never had a losing record his entire time as a coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And right now, the Steelers are in the driver's seat for that number 1 overall seed, and they could have that first round bye. They could have that bye in the playoffs, and this make their path to the Super Bowl a lot easier. So, you know, the Steelers, they're tough. They're tough. They're going to be a tough team, but that team in Kansas City, man, we'll talk about them in a second. I don't know, man. Kansas City's a whole different animal right now. But a guy that's been impressive, Tua.
Yeah, I didn't see much of Tua last game.
It was a lot better than his first game.
Put the leash back a little more, we'll run the room.
It was a lot better, but one thing that the Dolphins have been doing, their defense has actually been playing since week 1 or week 2. They've been playing really well this all season. They're scoring touchdowns, they're creating turnovers and scoring touchdowns. There's not much more you could ask of a defense.
Man, when the Dolphins are winning games consistently, that means the league's in a better place. Personally, because the Dolphins been the ball in the barrel for a while now, so they're the wild card and they're beating teams I don't expect them to beat. Yeah. So kudos to the Dolphins, man.
You gotta give it up to Brian Flores too, because when he took that job, a lot of people didn't think he was gonna succeed, just because of everything going on with that organization. They thought it was just a setup for another black head coach to fail. But the way he's turned it around, the way he's got these guys playing, because you traded away your best players last season. Mm-hmm. They're like 2 games into the season, you're trading away players, and it seemed like this was going to be like a couple years project for them to actually be good and competitive. But for them to turn it around in a short term like this, and for Tua to look like the quarterback of the future for them, this is a big deal, because they've been trying to replace Dan Marino since 1999.
Since he retired.
Yeah.
Like legit. And I can name some of the guys there. Greasy,
Brian Greasy, Fiedler.
Was Tannehill there?
Tannehill, Dante Culpepper.
Oh, yeah.
Who else was there?
I forgot about Culpepper.
I said Jay Fiedler, whatever his name was. Was Jay Cutler there too?
I think he was. Yeah, I think Cutler was there for like a season or 2.
Yeah, so maybe they found their quarterback of the future, and right now the Dolphins are in good position in the AFC East right now. They got a 5-3 record. I think they put together some games. Tua looks like the real deal. They got a decent running attack, so we'll see how the Dolphins play out this season. But hey, we got to give props when props is due. Get those wins as you can. The Chiefs are over here acting a fool. You see some of the plays they've been doing? They just out there playing like backyard football. And Mahomes, I think, is going to be the league MVP again. People have been talking about other people getting the league MVP, but he's
heating up. He wasn't playing that well when the season started.
Yeah.
So if he continues to throw 4 or 5 touchdowns consistently each game, he'll win MVP. But if he resorts back to playing iffy football, then somebody's going to snatch that MVP up. But he's been balling, though. But you can't really count. Like, when people say, the Chiefs aren't scoring throughout the game, there's going to be a quarter where they open it up, just like Golden State does.
Yeah. And this time it was kind of... They just had a balanced attack. Well, not really that balanced. They just was launching that ball all over the place. I mean, Travis Kelce couldn't be stopped. And the Panthers, they had opportunities, but they couldn't convert. They couldn't execute. They had a 4th and short that they couldn't execute. They had a couple opportunities in the red zone, and instead of getting touchdowns, they kicked field goals. So that's like the difference between winning in the NFL and losing. If you get into that red zone and you score a touchdown or field goals, the Chiefs were scoring touchdowns in there, and he was using all the weapons. And the Panthers, they get their best player back, and then their best player gets hurt again.
He got hurt?
McCaffrey, he had shoulder. Well, he played the whole game, but he's gonna be out. He's gonna be out for a while. He got a shoulder injury.
I'll be honest. I was telling my boy, like, yo, he's strong. Like, for him to be as small as he is as a running back, to be that strong, he has to get bigger because his body won't be able to take that pounding.
And the way they use him, they use him in the run and they use him in the pass. So he's taking a whole lot of hits, and most of the time he's getting gang tackled. So
you got to put on more size.
So the Chiefs right now, 8-1 right now, second best record in the AFC behind the Steelers And if somehow the Steelers lose, these guys will have another opportunity to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs for the third year in a row. And road to the Super Bowl going through Kansas City is not easy. As you can see, it's hard to win over there. But a lot of teams in the AFC aren't. They travel well on the road, but I don't know if they're ready for that because Baltimore, they have like the offensive game plan to travel on the road with their running attack, but they need to put more belief in their quarterback as far as throwing the ball. And then Pittsburgh will match up well with them, but we say that now, and then when when the game starts, you're like,
I mean, you would think out of Baltimore and Pittsburgh would match up better with the Chiefs just because their offenses are similar. They rely too much on Lamar with the Baltimore Ravens, so you got to let that man drop back and pass a couple, man. Just because like every team knows at some point he's gonna run. Mm-hmm. He's gonna be running a bunch. So you got to just sometimes pass more than you run. You got to keep each team players on their toes. You got to keep people guessing. I don't understand why it's so hard for teams to keep people guessing.
And for Lamar, it's if they're gonna be a Super Bowl contender team, they're gonna have to have him pass. That's just the reality of it because they just can't run the ball 40, 50 times a game. He's got to have to get the ball down the field. And it's not like they don't have the weapons. They have the weapons for him to get it down the field, but it's just a matter of putting trust in him.
And worst thing about that, them running the ball that many times a game, he's probably going to run the ball primarily most of the game.
Yeah.
Meaning your running back shouldn't have that workload. There needs to be a separation in the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to say the workload. Like the running back should get 25, 30 carries. Lamar should be passing the ball 20, 25 times.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 runs. You know what I mean? You got to try to balance it.
Yeah, because we see with these guys, the Chiefs, they got like 3 running backs that they could use. And the quarterback is, when they need to, they'll have him run. But it's not like they have him drop back and have designed runs for him. It's like if it's short, they're going to run it with the quarterback. But the Chiefs, man, they're going to be they just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about them. They're just playing ridiculous right now. All right, and the Packers redeemed themselves after whatever they were on the previous game. But Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams might be these guys. They might be the best wide receiver quarterback combo in the league right now. The way they were doing it, and they took advantage of a team that was just decimated by injuries.
Yeah, I didn't watch this game at all. I think I picked the Packers though.
Yeah. So
that being said, I knew we get back on track. And what's his name came back, Adam Jones. Granted, he didn't have a very productive day, but just him being out there helps.
Yeah, he takes a lot. You can't when he's out there. You gotta at least space in the middle of that field because sometimes you have to have a linebacker watch him or something like that. But then Devontae Adams, 10 catches, $173. This guy, he's arguably one of the best receivers in the league, and he don't get that much recognition. But this is the second time in 3 games where he's had over 10 catches. Previously he had 13 catches. A couple weeks ago he had 13 catches for 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is. That's like Moss numbers right there.
Yeah, I mean,
Jerry Rice numbers.
We got some good receivers this year. Like, honestly, I think the NFL's in a better place this year than it was last year.
Yeah.
Overall, the team, competitive-wise, there's more parity. Like I said, the Dolphins winning, the league in a better place.
Yeah. The only non-parity is the NFC East or whatever we want to call that division right now.
They always suck.
Yeah, that division is just terrible. But yeah, there's so many receivers in the league, even the young ones too. They got Jared Jeudy over there in Denver. He was making plays. Henry Ruggs, the receivers for the Chargers, Mike Williams. There's so many young receivers that just making. There's a lot of playmakers in the league right now, and it doesn't. And it also helps with with some of these rules that it allows receivers to run freely in secondaries because if you put your hands on them after 5 yards, that's a flag.
I don't know, man. My players supposed to be touched all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I don't get it.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but whatever. Yeah, so this news from the Panthers, McCaffrey he's not expected to play this coming weekend. So
oh man.
It's crazy too. You ever notice when players get a big contract, the injuries start? He got that contract this offseason. Now the injury starts.
I think it's in more precautionary reasons too. Like you don't want the injury to cause another injury.
Yeah,
because he is so much of an investment.
Yeah,
so it's like we got to kind of tiptoe around our prized possessions.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see. That's the NFL. Hold on, I think I got a couple more NFL updates. Do I have NFL updates? No, I don't. All right, let's go to Craig. Let's go to Craig with the No Huddle, and we'll be back.
What up, everybody, and welcome to No Huddle here on After the Whistle. It's your boy Craig, here to give you my DraftKings picks of the week. And I'm hoping I can do a little better this week. I think I kind of screwed the pooch last week, had a couple off picks, but I think I have a nice roster this week. I think I have the picks that are going to get you over the top. First, I'm going to start off with the quarterback, Jared Goff. And the reason why I picked Jared Goff, they're going up against Seattle. Seattle's got the worst secondary in the league. Buffalo Bills just proved that you don't run the ball against Seattle. You go over the top and you attack. You attack their corners. You attack their safeties and know that you're going to be successful. And with one of the strongest cores of wide receivers in the NFL, I expect big things from this entire offense. So Jared Goff going up against Seattle is going to be a good pick for you. Next, I'm going with the best running back in football, Alvin Kamara. Christian McCaffrey came back big this past week. Shoulder injury at the end of the game. Could be sidelined. So I went with the next best thing, Alvin Kamara. He's been tearing it up all season long. Putting up big numbers for every fantasy owner. They're going up against San Fran. San Fran has a terrible offense, and you know that means that they're going to get off the field early and often, and Kamara is going to be getting his touches, so I like him a lot. I'm going to roll the dice this week on Leonard Fournette. Tampa Bay made the big mistake of not getting the run game going last week, so I'm hoping that they're going to rectify that by getting the run game going this coming week. And they're going up against Carolina. And Carolina's a good team, but they're mostly offense, not defense. I expect Fournette to finally have his big game. With the first wide receiver, I got to go Robert Woods. I love my boy Cooper Kupp. He's a little bit more expensive. I think you're going to get about the same, if not maybe a little bit more production out of Robert Woods because Kupp is the number one guy. But I think Woods is going to do big things, and he's always a threat in the red zone. Next, I went with another sleeper pick. I'm going with Marquise Valdes-Scantling. With the Green Bay Packers, they're going up against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense is not very good. We saw this last week going up against Houston. Devontae Adams is going to be eating all day long, but expect Marquise Valdes-Scantling to at least get into the end zone once, if not a second time. Then for my third wide receiver, I went with Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool's only had really one big game all season, but he's been itching and scratching at big numbers. They're going up against Cincinnati. Now, I will say this. Cincinnati's defense has been getting better as the season's progressed, but this is the divisional matchup, and both teams are going to be airing this ball out, and the defense is going to want to be playing, and Steelers' defense is going to want to get Cincinnati off the field right away. But I like Chase Claypool. And with that being said, in the tight end position, I got to go with my boy Eric Ebron. I went with him last week, and he got the nice touchdown to being one of the top scoring tight ends last week. And I think that he'll get into the end zone again this week. He's super hyped, super amped, and it's going to be goal to go. In the flex position, I kind of struggled with this one a little bit, but Houston coming off of a nice victory, wanting to follow it up with an additional victory. They want to try to make a push for number one in their division. They're going up against Cleveland. I think this is a favorable matchup. I think this is going to be an absolute shootout. And I think Brandon Cooks has been extremely successful all season long. He has been, him and Will Fuller have been getting big shots downfield. And Cooks is making a lot of work to avoid the tackles, and I like him this week. Finally, for the defense, I went with the Saints. After what the Saints did, shutting down Tampa Bay, now they're going up against San Fran. This is going to be light work. They don't have their starting quarterback. They don't have their starting tight end. They don't have any starting running backs. Their starting wide receivers are out with COVID and more COVID. This is going to be an absolute slaughter. And Saints defense are going to be getting at the quarterback. They're going to be getting interceptions. It's just going to be brutal. I'd be surprised if San Fran got more than a field goal. So I'm loving this game, and I love the Saints. Jared Goff, Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, Robert Woods, Marquise Valdez-Scantling, Chase Claypool, Eric Ebron, and Brandon Cooks in the Saints defense. And until next week, I'll see you on No Huddle. Back to After the Whistle.
We are back. Thank you, Craig, for that. And we will go to Mia Lynn with the New England Sports Update. I'm all over the place, man. I'm hungry. Sports Update with Mia Lynn, and we'll come back.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another segment of New England Sports Scores and Updates. I'm Mia Lynn, and today I'll be breaking down the latest in the sports world over the past week. To start off, it's official that Alex Cora will be making his return as the manager of the Boston Red Sox. Cora is returning to the team after leading them to a World Series championship in 2018. This big news comes after he and the Red Sox organization mutually decided to go their own ways back in January due to the Houston Astros sign-stealing incident that Cora was involved in. Cora was also suspended by MLB for the last year and throughout the duration of this year's World Series. In a virtual press conference on Tuesday, Cora apologized for his actions and said, quote, "I want to apologize to the organization for putting them in such a tough spot coming into the season. I never thought that's what was going to happen." In college football news, Notre Dame pulled off the upset over the former number 1 team, the Clemson Tigers, in a double overtime thriller with a final score of 47-40. Kyron Williams' 3-yard touchdown run in the second overtime secured the upset for his team on Saturday night as they notched their first victory over a number 1 ranked team in 27 years. Ian Book led the team passing for 310 yards and a touchdown, while Kyron Williams rushed for 140 yards and 3 touchdowns. This win resulted in the Fighting Irish soaring from number 5 to number 1 in the power rankings, and it also marked the first time that they reached the number 1 ranking since 2012. After this performance, it's clear that the Fighting Irish are having themselves a season, as their opponents have led for only a total of 23 minutes this entire season. Our very own Boston College Eagles will look to hand Notre Dame their first loss of the season as the two teams match up this Saturday at 3:30. Lastly, in college basketball news, Gonzaga has been ranked number 1 in the preseason AP Top 25 poll for the first time in school history, with 28 first-place votes, beating out Baylor by just a single point. That puts Baylor in second place with 24 first-place votes, followed by Villanova. This marks the 3rd consecutive season that the Bulldogs have earned a spot inside the preseason top 10. They have also won a total of 64 games in the past 2 seasons, which marks the most of any team in college basketball. The other teams making the top 10 are Virginia, Iowa, Kansas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Duke, and Kentucky. Gonzaga will look to continue to trend in the right direction as they pursue their first national championship title in program history. That's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week for another segment of New England Sports Scores and Updates.
We are back, and we got some more stuff to talk about. All right, before I get to the NBA, there were also some other notes from Sunday. So the Bills, Josh Allen and the Bills, they put a good whooping on the Seahawks, and it was shocking too because uncharacteristically, Russell Wilson was throwing interceptions, especially in the red zone. He had one in the red zone, which was just uncharacteristically trying to force a pass, and I'm just looking at it like.
I just think Russell Wilson probably played one of the worst games he played in a while. Like, as an overall, the team was straight trash. They couldn't do anything. But I'll be honest, Russell had one play where he chucked that thing in the end zone and dude to
off
the
his
car.
back foot?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Like, you got when your quarterback's playing that bad and you have something like that, you got to catch that. And it hit on your whole upper body, like arms, forearms. Oh man, you got to catch that, brother.
Yeah, and also Josh Allen, he put together a great game. Josh Allen's he's a little up and down, but he's still learning. But it helps that you got receivers that you could just throw the ball to, and no matter who's covering them, even if they're double teaming, they'll catch it.
And their defense is solid.
Yeah, their defense is solid. You can run on that defense for sure, but when it comes to trying to pass on them, they get to the quarterback, and all right. All right, so some NBA. Let's get into some NBA news. So the NBA season is set to start December 22nd. 72 game season. There was some. Basically, they didn't want to lose money if they started after December because they were gonna lose a lot of money.
Really?
Yeah.
Christmas Day. They could have started.
Yeah, they're gonna lose money. So the season is gonna start December 22nd. Camp is gonna start in I think 3 or 4 weeks. The training camp. We got the NBA draft next week. Free agency too. So a lot happening in the NBA right now, and it's interesting because it's just such a big. Because it's the finals was just yesterday.
Literally,
And,
but I think that's their plan to try to regulate next season.
Yeah.
Back to normal.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to cram it in here, and I get it. They're probably like, guys, I know you got some of y'all it's a little sore, but we gotta just try to get through this season. But the teams that didn't get invited to the bubble, they got an advantage because they were rested, working out. So honestly, this might be y'all time to.
Yeah, I said this is probably
shine.
gonna be one of the most competitive seasons we're gonna see in the NBA, and also I think they'll have more time off in between games because I don't think they'll be doing those 3 games in 4 or 5 nights, or those they have so many back to back. So I think they're adjusted so those guys can get healthy, and then hopefully it ended in June, and then back to how they regularly do business. So that's that, and then there's some more NBA news, some other NBA news. The Rockets, Harden and Westbrook are. They're pretty much, they might be traded. There's there's rumors of them possibly being traded. Westbrook, I've heard the Clippers or the Knicks are interested in him. Harden, we already know Philadelphia is interested in teaming him up with Embiid. So, some interesting moves, but the Knicks trying to get Westbrook now is a typical Knicks move. Try to get a guy who's pretty much past his prime and try to bring excitement. And it's just no.
I don't see him being a good fit for the Knicks. I could see Harden being a better fit, just because he's still he's more of an efficient scorer.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. They just put what was the Westbrook second year together with them or first year?
This was his first year.
First year, I don't know, man. I feel like if you're gonna move anybody, you gotta move Harden. He's been there the longest.
Yeah, but if Westbrook, the better fit for him will probably be the Clippers because he won't. It'll just be a better.
Who are they gonna get rid of from the Clippers? You're not keeping both Kawhi and Paul George. They probably are because they're contracts. So
they're probably gonna get rid of 3 or 4 role
honestly, you probably get rid of Harold, Lou Will. They're gonna ask for some real pieces from your team. You might as well just keep the Clippers team the way it is because all you gotta do is lose in the playoffs again.
Yeah, unless you really want to give up future draft picks and get rid of the little annoying point guard and get a real point guard. That'll help you. That'll help you a whole lot. Yeah. And then also, Phoenix is interested in signing Chris Paul. In acquiring Chris Paul from Oklahoma City Thunder, which would benefit Devin Booker a whole lot because we see how well he played with a real point guard in Ricky Rubio.
Where is Ricky? I mean, he's Utah, right?
No, I think he's still
Phoenix,
there.
Right?
I think he's still there. So if you get Chris Paul, you probably team him up one of the greatest point guards ever with Devin Booker. I mean, we can see Devin Booker go to average 30 points a game because he's gonna get so many easy shots.
It's crazy how people kind of counted Chris Paul out like he wasn't good.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Granted, I know he's the chairman of the whatever association, but bro. I gotta respect the man's talent though. He's still one of the best point guards in the league. He's shown that.
Yeah, definitely. And then also some NBA news. Tommy Heinsohn passed away yesterday. I mean, sad day for Celtics. But he was sick for. He had health issues for a while. That's why before the shutdown, you wouldn't see him doing some games because of health reasons, and then he'll be here. Some games he won't be there. He'll do studio work and stuff, but. He was hilarious to watch as a commentator, to listen to as a commentator, man. Especially when he starts getting on the refs, because he commentates like a fan instead of being objective.
He's the bias of all bias. Yeah. Now, one thing, I was fortunate enough to meet Tommy a couple times because, I went to Cam Twist, is a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out condolences to the Tommy Heisen family. His wife's a lovely lady, very petite, quiet lady, and then you got big old him like, hey, let's get out of here, like, cause he hated staying after the game. As soon as the game was over, he was trying to get out of there.
No, that's typical. Like that's typical elderly people. Once they finish what they gotta do, I'm done. I need to go home, take a nap. It's past my bedtime.
But you will never have another announcer as biased as Tommy.
Oh my gosh,
I will miss it.
Never. But it's hilarious. It was kind of hilarious how his bias, man. I think the last thing he said the refs should be kept in the bubble and never return until they get their act together.
I like Tommy, man.
That dude,
ginormous guy too. You don't even know how big he was till like you say.
What was he, like 6'9", right?
He's like 6'9", 6'10". Yeah. His head was like half my size. He was a massive man. Like, yeah.
Let's go to a +1 interview. Me and Michelle, we talked about the Pats pretty much. We did our usual Patriots rant. Her more so than me because she's extreme about the Patriots. So let's go to +1. Go come back, game picks and more around the league and wrap it up. Another edition of the +1 interview, and friend of the show is back. Michelle is back, and we are about to talk some Patriots. We finally got a win. They finally got a win.
Was it a win? Was it a win though?
You take them as they come. When you're in desperate need of a win, don't matter who.
It felt more like a loss to me.
I'll tell you why this felt like a win for me. Because in 3 of their last 4 games, they've had the ball with the potential to go down and get a game-winning score. And each time they've gotten stopped on the 1-yard line. They missed a wide-open receiver. We got a fumble in there. This time, the Jets pretty much gifted them a gift. They gifted them a gift, and they went down and they got the field goal and they executed. They needed something like that to go their way because they've been close and close and close, but they just couldn't break through. And this one, they finally were able to do it. And this is when you have a team with so many young players like this. This is something that they need.
Well, also you did mention that the Jets gifted them this. Yeah, the Patriots were playing a team that was tanking. So of course the Jets gave them that game. That interception late by Joe Flacco, what was that? And then for me, it felt like a loss because if there's such thing as, when they lost to the Seattle Seahawks, we're like, oh, that, was a more victory. There was a lot of positive to take out of that. We felt good about that loss.
Yeah.
However, for me, when you barely beat a team like the Jets and you're struggling against an 0-8 team at the time, you're losing by 10 points in the fourth quarter, even though you win, it felt like a loss because that wasn't a game you were supposed to win. And if you weren't playing a team like the Jets that were clearly tanking, you don't win that game. And I don't feel like you win that game. And it's sad because this is the New England Patriots. And when Folk hit that 51-yard field goal, I was happy, but then I was like, whoa, I'm a little embarrassed. Why am I so happy that the Patriots beat an 0-8 team that they should not have beaten in the first place? Because it wasn't a good game for the New England Patriots, especially that defense. And I know you gave the defense a pass because there's no Dante Hightower, there's no Patrick Chung.
Oh, no, I ain't giving them a pass for this one.
Yeah, you can't give them a pass for this one. Joe Flacco looks like an MVP.
Yeah, they can't get a pass from this one for their performance of this one with Joe Flacco. I don't care if you are losing, if you don't have your best players out there. You can't have Joe Flacco go out there and look like the league MVP, just tossing dimes out there and having guys run free in the secondary. That was an embarrassing performance by the defense.
Absolutely. The one good thing I guess I can take away from this is Cam Newton didn't lose them the game. He didn't fumble in the red zone. He did what he had to do. And I think that's what the Patriots needed him to do all season. We don't need you to be Tom Brady. The Patriots don't need Cam Newton to be Tom Brady. They don't even need him to be Cam Newton from his MVP season. They need Cam Newton to be able to hit wide open receivers, run the ball when he has to, and protect the ball. That's what we saw against the Jets. Unfortunately, it was the Jets, a team that is taking. So how can I be happy about that?
You got to take the wins as they come because it could be worse. You needed a win. Nothing better. Hey, if it's a close one, it's a blowout. It helps for the younger players, for those players that they don't know what it's like to win a game down 10 points like that. And for those offense, you talked about Cam Newton making better decisions. How about Josh McDaniels calling better plays in his designs? You finally realized that you don't have speedster wide receivers, so they completely took out throwing deep routes. I think he had two. I remember he had one in the opening drive, and then he had another one where he missed a guy. But they completely taken out just trying to throw the ball deep. They realized that these receivers aren't fast. They're possession receivers.
Not just the receivers. I also wonder if they don't trust Cam Newton to throw the ball deep also. Because he's not
– There's a lot of
accurate quarterback, So I wonder if it's, yes, we don't have the receivers that are capable of doing this, and also Cam Newton can't do it either. Some of his passes, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, they don't. There's not a lot of beliefs in the offense, and honestly, Cam don't trust that offensive line because whenever he gets more than like 3 or 4 seconds, he starts to panic because he's been hit too many times, and the offensive line has proven they're not that great at protecting him. So anytime they design a play that's supposed to go deep, I just don't think he has faith that he'll have time to even attempt the pass with the offensive line the way they were playing. But I mean, I'm just happy that they got that win. They got that win. It showed me that this is how the NFL works. Separate yourself from being a good or decent team. The margin of errors. This team can't afford any errors. That's why they're 3-5. They could easily be 6-2 if they corrected some of the stuff they didn't do early in the season. But their margin of error is so small. They need to play a game like that. Just run the ball, play action, short passes, and what's the guy's name? Bird. He's shown that he can make plays after the catch.
Also, Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
12 of 14, 169 yards. He was great in that game. For me, I think that was the biggest takeaway for me is how he is developing into a trustworthy wide receiver that Cam Newton can go to. And it's interesting because Newton talked about their history. He went to Newton's quarterback camp when he was in high school. Myers is a former quarterback, so he's able to understand defenses better than other wide receivers. Okay. And he's shown that a lot. It's interesting because he wasn't getting that much playing time early on in the season. Finally, he's getting the playing time to show what he can do, and he's delivering really well for this team. He's been trustworthy. He was there every single time Cam Newton needed him on Monday, and I don't think the Patriots win without him because who else was he going to throw the ball to?
Yeah, and there's a couple guys on that offense that might not see the field again. Number one, Sony Michelle, and number two is N'Keal Harry. They might have some snaps taken away from them when they return because Harris, he's just been a workload. Granted, he got hurt at the end of the game, but he's been a workload. And, the emergence, if Jacoby Myers can put together more games like this, he'll take that number one receiver spot.
I'm loving what I'm seeing from Damian Harris. The more he plays, the more he's getting comfortable in the offense, the more he's getting comfortable playing in an NFL game. And you're seeing that he is good. He was playing well. He's breaking tackles. He's doing exactly what a lot of Patriots fans wanted to see from Sony Michelle. And I'm going to have to go negative. You're saying N'Keal Harry, Sony Michelle, both first-round draft picks, correct?
Yeah.
And they are potentially going to lose playing time, that's on Bill Belichick and his drafting. And you talked about that with me a couple weeks ago. That's a problem.
Yeah, they picked Sony Michelle over Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb has been a much better productive running back in the NFL. And then we already know about the receivers pick after N'Keal Harry. So, yeah, I think Belichick, the GM, at some point they need to have a conversation. Kraft needs to have a sit down with him and get somebody else in there, because Belichick's eye for talent, especially on the offensive side, has not been great.
It hasn't been great, and especially now when the Patriots are somewhat rebuilding or resetting, you need somebody that can draft talent, because that's what this team needs right now, as they're trying to reshape themselves into a playoff, come back into a playoff team without a trusty quarterback in Tom Brady that can develop players like he has so many years in the past.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Well, you talk about playoffs. Right now they're 3-5, 2-1 in the AFC East. All right, now if this team could actually go 8-8 and 7 or 9-7, that would be one of the most. Belichick needs to get all the flowers in the world if he does that. But let me tell you, their next 5 games. Let me tell you, a primetime game against the Ravens. Then they go to the Texans. Then they got the Cardinals coming here. And then they're in LA back-to-back weeks. They take on the Chargers and the Rams. Right now, I'm seeing 1-4 or 2-3.
I see one win. I see one win, and that's maybe against the Texans. Maybe.
If somehow miraculously they go 3-2 out of this stretch, I won't even watch the rest of the last 3 games. I'll be like,
I would be shocked. I would be shocked. And if they do that, I have to apologize to Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
for every bad thing I've said about him this season. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah,
you can't. A team that struggled against the Broncos, that were 1-3 at the time, a team that struggled against a winless Jets team, I don't expect them to come out and beat the Ravens, beat Kyler Murray, who's pretty good. I don't expect them to beat the Rams. Now, the Rams, Chargers.
Those are top guys.
I feel like the Chargers are actually better than their record. Yeah, they just can't finish games. Yeah. I feel like they're a lot better than their record. Justin Herbert has it's early, but he looks like an NFL quarterback to me.
And the Rams is winnable because Jared Goff has dipped dramatically.
Yes, but the Rams, for me though, the Rams are only winnable maybe last year. But this is a different team. This is not like we have Tom Brady. The Patriots don't have Tom Brady in the backfield. No, and this is not a knock to Cam. It's just Tom Brady was that type of quarterback that can help you win those games. That you can say, oh, I'm not going to bet against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. There's no Tom Brady. You can definitely
bet against Jared Goff. You can bet Jared Goff, though. You could bet Jared Goff.
Yes, but I just don't think the Patriots are even not just good enough. I don't even think they're average enough to beat the Rams. And I agree with you. I don't think Jared Goff is that good, but they struggled against the Broncos and lost.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Jared Goff, he's gonna throw them. He's gonna throw them some that.
Yeah, he's gonna throw them some easy ones.
He's gonna.
J.C. Jackson should have a pick or two.
Yeah, that one. So if they manage to go 2-3 or 3-2 in this stretch, yeah, that'll be something amazing. Well,
so you're saying you feel like the playoffs, there's still a path.
They have a pulse. They have a pulse. It's like they're almost flatlining, but they still have a pulse. And also, if you look at it, they've been in every single game this year. They've been in every game minus the 49ers.
49ers.
Yeah, that was the only game. I mean, the Chiefs, we know what that. But that's but all the games they've been in, it's just the execution. But it's a long season, but whatever. It's almost over. The misery's almost over. Michelle, let them know where they can follow you.
Oh, follow me on Instagram at Michelle Fenelon TV, MICHLL. That's the right way. EFENELON TV. And on Twitter at Mish Fenelon, MICHFENELON.
All right, and there you have it. That's another +1 interview with Michelle. You guys, we'll see you guys when we see you guys. All right, and we are back. Thank you, Michelle, for that. All right, before we get into our game picks and top plays, other notes from the world of sports. Wichita State is parting ways with basketball head coach Greg Marshall. He had some scandals happening.
Oh, okay.
And, you know,
yeah. I thought it was just like they were just done with him.
There was some scandals going on, and I think they had him on leave, and then they trying to figure it out, and so at some point they're gonna announce that they are parting ways with him, but it's gonna happen at some point. We got golf is starting tomorrow. The Masters is set to start tomorrow. I completely forgot that it was still going on. I forgot that. I forgot they really moved it all the way in November. So
I didn't even hear anything about it on ESPN.
They were talking about it briefly.
Oh, okay.
They've been talking about it more, like yesterday and today. They talked about it more. But yeah, that's all. That's set to start. Whatever. All right, in the world of college football, you know I've been saying shut it down for a while. So we've got some postponed games. Georgia versus Missouri is postponed. LSU versus Alabama is postponed. And I believe there's another game. Tennessee versus Missouri is postponed. No, Texas A&M versus Tennessee is postponed. All these are COVID-related reasons.
All right. See, I was watching the game between, what was it, Akron, Ohio?
Oh, last night?
Akron was 0-1. Ohio 1-0. The season basically over. And I said to myself when I watched, I said, this reminds me of the Armadillo. That's just how to watch it, necessary roughness. But honestly, if you're going to have any teams play, I get it. Every Division I athlete on the football field has a chance to go play in the NFL or get a look. I get that. You all won't make it, but you all will get the eyeballs. But only Power 5 is going to play you really need to play.
Yeah.
Like all these other small schools, you just putting your kids at risk. I get it. You want to see your kids play, but what's more important?
Yeah.
Your health or your kids playing?
Yeah, they need. They definitely just trying to make sure they get that money. But yeah, it's terrible that they even had these things going on. I mean, UMass Amherst, I think they played. Everybody was saying didn't know why they were playing. I think they played one game so far and they got blown out. And most people that cover the team or write about sports, they're just like, why did you even bother playing if you're gonna go out there and get blown out like that? And then they were trying to schedule another game, and it's just like, why? Like, why?
They got to realize, like, granted, a lot of you guys want to be out there, but it's also about the product that the NCAA wants to present. Just like any other sport, it's a product.
Yeah.
It's no longer just fun rec ball anymore. Like, this is a business, and the product needs to be at its best.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Deion Sanders' youngest son, Shador Sanders, committed to play football at Jackson State for his father. He's a 4-star recruit too. Well, that's a big move. I always found it interesting, kids that play for their dad, for their parent, for their father, in any sport. I always wanted to like just try to get the mindset of that, because I'm sure it's harder for the parent than it is for the kid, because you can't coach him. You got to coach him differently.
That too, and you said it's harder for the player?
For the parent.
I think it's harder for the player because they get the brunt from the teammates and all the other stuff. Like, if he's doing well and getting more opportunity, or you only doing that because your daddy, your coach is the daddy, this, that, and the third. So, like, I honestly don't feel like players should play for their parents. You need to go leave the nest and just be under other tutelage. You can learn how to deal with other types of people. Yeah. You know your daddy your whole freaking life, so you know you know how to handle him, how to deal with him. You need to learn how to deal with other people, because when you leave the nest for real, society, you know what I mean, isn't him. Everybody has their own personality, so you need to learn how to...
Would you say that for college reasons or for both high school or college?
College and life. Okay. Just like when you leave, when you go in the real world, everybody has different personality, so you've been so accustomed to your dad, you know what I mean? You just need to just be around other people, other coaches.
Yeah, I was thinking about high school, too.
Oh, yeah. And it was like, I could have swore his dad was so big on him going to Florida State. So I get it. You got Jackson State job. We're big on HBCUs. But you were so adamant about your son going to your alma mater. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just.
I think he see how Florida State's going. He's like,
But my thing is,
let's have this conversation.
But my whole thing is, it's only going that way because they have no quarterback. You know what I mean? So, and he's a quarterback. So, granted, whoever he plays, I hope he does well because I like seeing kids go to these HBCU schools.
Yeah.
I think it's dope.
All right. And then we got another one. Did you see this nonsense from the newly hired manager of the Chicago White Sox, Tony La Russa? Got arrested for a DUI. And this guy is over there telling the officers, I am a Hall of Fame baseball person.
Is he a baseball player?
No, he was a coach and a player, but he was trying to use I'm in the big leagues cards, and while he's drunk, and the whole exchange was like, what?
I didn't even see that, but like, I'll be honest, but hope like, I'm trying to word this the right way without sounding crazy, but like, they don't really care about what professional sports you play for. Like, they're more likely to give you a ticket or arrest you because you're a professional athlete. Like,
yeah, but he's just done. They already weren't. There are a lot of people not even big fans of the hire because the White Sox are so young and they're like, and he's so old.
Out of touch.
And he's one of those. Basically, the White Sox are the team that likes to have fun. When they hit a home run, they like to do backflips. Tim Anderson, their best player and the most exciting player, be having chains and stuff, and then you bring this guy here who's, yeah.
They're more worried about his expertise rather than how he'll affect the player.
Yeah.
Because it don't matter how smart you are as a GM or
The manager.
As a manager, you still need to be able to relate to your players. They still got to respect you.
Yeah, and and a lot of people that covered baseball for years, that know baseball for years, they were saying how bad of a hire this was because the guy hasn't been a manager for a while.
I was gonna say because I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, I think the last time he was with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So the whole hiring of him when you could have found a better candidate that could better relate to those players, but you go that route.
So was he like lingering around the organization,
I
talking to people? Because the only reason like. Guys that old, they don't get like just reached out for. They have to be around for them to be visible.
Yeah.
People be like, "Oh, let's give him opportunity." You know what I mean? Like, if you're older, retired, nothing's gonna just think about you out of the blue. You know what I mean? You had to do something or say something or been in cahoots with somebody. That's how I personally feel about it.
Yeah,
because we talk about that whole recycling coaches and managers and stuff. It's time to give somebody a new opportunity.
Give someone a new opportunity. But yeah, that whole White Sox thing is just that. That thing is, I don't know. It was funny. But let's go to top 10, and we're going to come back with our game picks, and then we'll be out of here. All right, time for week 10 game picks. So last week, Todd went 9-4. I went 7-7. It was a rough week for me. It was a rough week. It was just it was bad. It was bad. All right, so we will start this off. This is Thursday night football. We got the Colts at Tennessee.
I got Tennessee, man.
You got Tennessee?
Yeah.
I'll pick the Colts. Yeah, I'll go with the Colts. This might be the last time. If they lose, I won't pick them again for a while.
Uh-huh.
All right. Houston at Cleveland.
I'm going to take Houston.
You going to take Houston?
Yeah, I think Houston going to take this one.
All right, and I'll take Houston as well. That is, yeah.
No OBJ.
no OBJ. Even though it's on the road and Houston has looked a hot mess, but I'll still take Houston. I just can't take the Browns anyway. The team from Washington at Detroit. Another toilet bowl.
Team from Washington.
Got the team from Washington. I think I'll go with the Lions. They play well at home. They just don't play well anywhere else. Jacksonville at Green Bay. Jacksonville got a new quarterback. It's not the Minshew guy.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay. But that quarterback they had, he had a nice little 70-yard touchdown bomb.
Oh, yeah, you're right. What was his name?
I don't know, but he ain't going to help. Okay. NFC East football. Philadelphia at the Giants.
I'm going to go with Philly, man. It's awful.
Oh, man. You know my motto. I don't pick any New York teams, so I'm going to go with Philly. But this is one of those, if like a kidnapper has you and forces you.
Bro, just blow my brains.
Right? All right. Tampa Bay is going to Carolina.
Hold up. Oh, my bad. I was thinking of something else. I'm going to go with Carolina.
Yeah, I was going to Carolina, too. I don't like how the Bucs have looked the past 2 games. They just, get it together. That's what y'all need to do. Denver at the Raiders. Raiders playing really well. The Raiders have been playing well. Chargers at Miami. The Chargers I swear, they're the only team that lose so many close games at the last second, too.
I ain't gonna lie. I thought Herbert was gonna beat us. I'm gonna go with the Chargers, though.
You going with the Chargers? Dolphins are playing really well. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. Maybe they go 3 in a row and make it 3 wins in a row.
I'm not a believer yet.
Doozy one. This might be a good one. Buffalo at Arizona.
Buffalo.
You on Buffalo?
Mm-hmm.
I believe in Kyler Murray to bounce back, to stop fumbling the ball. I'll go with the Cardinals. Seattle at Los Angeles Rams.
Go with Seattle.
Going Seattle?
Yeah.
My instinctively it's telling me to go with the Seattle, but I'm going to go with the Rams. They're coming off a bye. San Francisco at New Orleans. We already know the situation with the 49ers.
What is it again?
All their best players are on injury reserve.
Yeah,
I'm going with the Saints. I have the Saints defense on my fantasy football team.
Oh, okay.
Bengals at Pittsburgh.
Going with the Burrow man.
Going with the Burrow man?
Yeah, I think an upset coming.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's an upset coming with COVID. There's a couple players on the Steelers that are on COVID watch. So that's something to look out for. Big Ben wasn't too. He doesn't have it, but he was in close contact with somebody on
close proximities.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I think the Burrow man is gonna pull an upset. Baltimore at New England. This is the primetime game, Sunday Night Football.
Man, I gotta go with the hometown team.
Yeah, you're the home team.
Yeah, Pats, man. Gotta go with the Pats.
Y'all need to get this win.
Yeah, you do.
Confidence booster. And then Monday Night Football, we have Minnesota at Chicago.
I'm gonna go with Minnesota, man.
I'm gonna go with Vikings too. Have you seen what Dalvin Cook has been doing the past couple weeks?
And he's you see the interview? I never heard him speak before. very well spoken young man.
Yeah. And they just realized Kirk Cousins isn't throwing the ball 20 times at all. Just give the ball to Cook. So those are our picks. That is it for the week. Check them out. Mr. Burton23, Instagram. Mukala K, Instagram. LCTV After the Whistle, Instagram. Lynn Community Television, Facebook. LynnTV.org. Go check us out. It's Friday the 13th, this Friday.
Yeah,
right?
They're showing it at Tossville Fair if you want to just do something with the family over the weekend.
Free pub. Send us that check. Once again, happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there. Lynn Community Television, we did produce a Veterans Day service, so if you want to check that out, go to the website, lyntv.org, to watch the full Veterans Day ceremony. And it was the 245th birthday of the United States Marine yesterday. So the Lynn English JROTC put something together. So make sure y'all check that out. Go to the website. And we are out of here. Have a good one.